kicking off our meeting. This is a housing workshop, and this is a very important meeting. We've been talking about reimagining Cuney homes for a while now, right? We've had several meetings, several task force meetings, several meetings in here, and you are part of the reimagining of Cuney homes. So tonight, we're going to get your input on housing typologies that you want to see in the neighborhood, okay? Housing typologies that reflect the existing housing stock that carry on this neighborhood's character and the neighborhood's history, right? And who knows better about the neighborhood character and history than our councilwoman, Eva Shabazz. Thank you for coming. Thank you. We are in the district of destination. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I am Councilmember Carolyn Eva Shabazz, the Councilmember of District D, what I call the District of Destination. Cuney homes have long been a staple in this community. I mean, people have gone through and have lived here, and it's time for Cuney homes to get the attention that they deserve. And this meeting gives you an opportunity to have some input. I think that's wonderful when the community is involved with with input into what you would like to see. And so certainly I'm not going to belabor the point, but I wanted to just stop by and let you all know that this is something that we certainly support. We certainly know that you're going to come up with some great ideas. You know, we want to make sure that the community stays safe on top of everything else. We're looking at some other things. When I say we, my District D office, we're looking at some other things that we may be able to bring to fruition. You know, we hear about food insecurities, and we know that sometimes it's dangerous to go to some of the stores. And so we are really, really looking to put a food resource center very, very close. It's in the baby stages right now. And so this is just something that we're working on. So just look forward to that, because that's very important that you have a safe opportunity to go and get good, free, and nutritious food. So from the food bank. And so thank you so very much for allowing me to come and say a few words. I see we have our state representative, Yolanda Jones. Looking like she stepped off of Vogue magazine as you know, really ironically, I went to school with her aunt, and her aunt was actually an Ebony Fashion Fair model.
Wow.
So she
First Jordache model. She was also the first Jordache model.
Okay, first Jordache, black. But even more importantly, she was our classmate at Jack James High School. But anyway, I'm not really trying to take over your program, but you can get all of the lectures out of the way. If you get me out of the way and then Yolanda out of the way, y'all can have at it. But thank you so very much. And this is a good crowd. I know the weather's not that good, but it got pretty because they know that this, God knows that this is important. Amen. Thank you.
Right here, the floor is yours. Representative Yolanda Jones. Everybody just give her a good welcome.
Hello, I had some talks with the Housing Authority today. And I let the Housing Authority know I'm from 3rd Ward.
Okay.
I let the Housing Authority know that my grandparents, my mother's parents, lived in Cuney homes, as did my mother when she went to Blackshear. Word. And I let her know that I got a scar on my leg right here. I'm not let y'all see for where my aunt and her husband and my cousin lived here. And of course, I'm from 3rd Ward, went to Lockhart. My mother went to Texas Southern, my father went to Texas Southern. And so I used to play in these apartments, or Section 8. I know there was Section 8 housing back then. I didn't know what that was called. But I was doing something I had no business doing, and I got a scar to remember it all these years later. But the reason I tell that story is I'm from here. As you heard Councilmember Shabazz tell you, my aunt went to Yates, although she did end up transferring to Worthing because she went track.
She didn't tell us.
Okay, but everybody else graduated from Yates, right? So I'm not. But so I say that to say this. I talked to the Housing Authority, and I know this is very early plans, but let me tell you what I told the Housing Authority in full transparency. 3rd Ward used to go to what's now called part of the Edo. if you from Houston. Okay? I know because I went to St. Nicholas Church because I was raised Catholic and my grandfather's body shop was over there. I know the 3rd Ward went all the way to Main Street. You know how I know? Because I'm here and my people from here. And then they dropped 288, which became the line of demarcation, and then they stole our land from us. So now it's called the Museum District. Yeah. 3rd Ward, and now it's called Midtown, 3rd Ward. Now over there it's called Edo, 3rd Ward. And I'm gonna keep on going. I went to Lockhart. They made that into a high school, energy high school, where people from the neighborhood couldn't even go to school. But I went to Lockhart, right? And then I'm gonna tell you that they closed down almost all the elementary schools. It's hard to get people to buy homes here because we don't have good education, because there's been an effort, in my respectful opinion, to make the schools in our district smaller, to gerrymander the school districts and make kids who live in 3rd Ward go to Lamar, so they get the money, and Yates is now small, and all the schools are small, and I'm just gonna let y'all know how I feel, right? And so, what's happened effectively is they have reduced the land mass of affordable housing in 3rd Ward. Yes, ma'am. Right? And once it's gone, you can't get it back. So the first thing I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you this. The reason that I ran for office when I ran for office in the first place was because I lived growing up with slumlords as my mother's landlord, evicting us, come home from school, the door taken off the door taken off the hinges to get us out. I'm just if you don't have a good, safe place to live, nothing else works for you. Okay, nothing else works for you. So if I sound passionate, it's because I am, right? So I'm you. I mean, I had the help of family and friends and mentors to help me get out of where I came from, but I will never forget where I came from. So now I digress. Let me get back to what I told the people from the Housing Authority. Are you replacing what's here with affordable housing? Because the housing authorities are good for telling us they're coming to help us. Yeah, come on. Yeah. And then they don't help. Perfect example, 4th Ward. Okay, 4th Ward, where they said, oh, we're putting affordable stuff. And I can't remember how long the covenant was. The covenant was either 5 or 10 years. 5 or 10 years goes fast, right? And then they were building raggedy stuff. We know, right? Because it looked pretty when they first built it, and we think everything's going to work, and then next thing you know, we don't have anywhere to build affordable housing. The cost of the dirt is so expensive. So when I spoke with the housing authority person, she said we're going to put the same number of units. I can't remember how many. It's not important. Maybe 530. 550. Right? 550. I was close, but the point is, you're going to put the same number of units. I said, okay, we getting somewhere. Then my next question was, is it going to cover all of this land? Come on. And they were like, it's early, and there's nothing in writing, and y'all know I had a show called I'ma Tell It. And as I tell people, if you don't want me to tell it, don't do it. Don't do it. Because I'm from 3rd Ward. But anyway, so I learned that they're proposing to put the same number of units, but only on 75% of the property. Let me tell you my problem with that. I don't know if you have a problem with it, because I'm a roll with my constituents, right? But let me tell you the problem. They've already taken Museum District, they've already taken Midtown, they've already taken Edo, right? They've already taken that. We can't get it back. So, and we can't afford the land, right? So here's my concern, because they want to put market rate housing on 25% of the property. Well, once the property is gone, it's gone. It's gone. Right? It's gone. And let me tell you what else. As a person who bought my home in 1997, and I got a piece of property with my family, with my grandparents on Scott Street, and I got some property on Emancipation. So glad it ain't Dowling no more. He racist and a Confederate. But I say that to say this. As they're building market rate homes in 3rd Ward for $1 million and whatever, it is moving out regular old people who bought their house, lives here. I bought my house, it was a crack house. Well, you know, ain't nobody want to be here. We ain't had no grocery store. We ain't had no HEB. We worked 30 years to get that HEB, and we still ain't got as many stores they got in Montrose, Kirby, or 59, and wherever, right? So the problem I have is that once the land is gone, it's gone. But you can believe this is early in the process, and I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and I will be organizing my constituents because we need stores, right? We need access to fresh fruits and vegetables, not these convenience stores. They don't have convenience stores in River Oaks.
Nope.
Right? They don't have convenience stores in neighborhoods we wish we could afford. And so I'm extremely concerned about losing 25% of the land in order to have affordable housing, right? I am. And you should be, right? And when they put more $1 million homes in these neighborhoods, people are being moved out because they can no longer afford their taxes, because when they determine how much your taxes are, it's about like how much stuff goes around you. So if you're in a little bitty house and somebody else put a monstrosity on theirs, now all of a sudden your property value is going up because the appraisal district is telling us, well, you can sell your house and it'd be worth more. Well, I don't want to sell my house. I want to stay right here in my house. Right? So, those of you who know me know that I'm not your average politician. I'm not your average politician. But these are the issues I have with housing authorities, period. Because they screwed us. I said it, I did not stutter. The 4th Ward. And so I'm going to be on them, but this I promise you. I'm going to have meetings with the housing authority, and I'm going to make the housing authority come to you. And I'm going to tell you, because this is what I learned. I grew up living in rent houses and apartments, right? That's what I grew up, and my mother didn't own a home. So when I bought my house in 1997, and I was a lawyer, I got messed over, because you want to know why? I didn't know what to look for in buying a house, because I hadn't learned that, right? And so what I want to do is share with you information about what you might ought to be concerned about. At people who didn't grow up owning houses and who grew up renting. And then I'm about to shut up, but the last thing I'm gonna say is this. There are programs where if you're Section 8 renting, there are programs by the government where you can use the money you paying for rent to buy a house. Now everybody don't want no house, right? Some people want people to cut their yard, and I'm not mad at you, and some people don't mind that. But I went to my neighborhood that I grew up in on Napoleon Street, and went and saw one of my friends that I used to play with when I was little, and his mama was renting that house for 68 years. I'm gonna say that one more again, 68 years. You know how many houses they could have bought for 68 years? And the conditions that lady lives in, they're deplorable. Trust me, in the legislature, I'm working on slumlords too. Because they wrong for exploiting us because we poor, we don't know no better. But I am going to have a town hall or something where I can give you information where if you're Section 8 and you want to buy a home, to let you know about programs that are available to help you buy a home, because some people will never have the opportunity to buy a home because they don't think they can afford it. So I believe in giving us information because I don't want y'all to get got like I got. And I'm a lawyer. So, my name is Yolanda Jones. I'm about to let the Housing Authority come back and talk to y'all. And I'm going to sit and I'm going to pay attention to what they're saying. And if you don't understand something, this is, Yesenia is my district director. Because we're going to get through this. I promise you this. If the Housing Authority wants to work with me, I'm happy to work with the Housing Authority and help have a good relationship with the community. But if you want to come in and debo us and cut down, because again, here's my concern. You use 75% for affordable housing, you put 25% market rate. The people that's already here that own houses can't afford it. If you rent, your rent gonna get jacked up because the landlord's just gonna pass off the cost of the other taxes to the poor people, and then however long that gotta be held, then they gonna build us some more. And then next thing you know, they're going to want to do 75% of that. And we're going to be down to whatever. And over time, we will not be in 3rd Ward. And there will be no 3rd Ward. They'll be calling it Northern 3rd Ward, Greater. Ain't none of that. It's 3rd Ward. Right? It's 3rd Ward. Right? So, thank you very much. My name is Yolanda. I'm from the trade. Again, I'm not your average politician. But I'm going to fight for y'all and with y'all. And somebody told me that somebody was concerned about if they tear this down, that they're gonna make it lower or something.
No.
Let me be clear. I don't need Housing Authority to tell me this. Let me tell you why the Housing Authority ain't gonna do that. First of all, they ain't gonna create no floodplain where the value of the property is less.
Yeah.
Because they trying to eventually sell it for market rate. And you can't sell it at the market rate if it flood every time it rains. So that is one thing I'm not concerned about, okay? That's all I have to say. Again, my name is Jolanda Jones. I'm from this hood right here. And I thank you so much for electing me